many cool things about Hotchkiss, but the one thing that I did notice since I moved here from the Boston area is that the stars here at night are incredible. There's not a lot of light pollution. You walk outside and you can see stars, and you feel like you're Odysseus on his ship, in the ancient world. There's just so many stars everywhere. It's incredible. We have over 70 clubs and organizations. They're all started by students. They range from affinity groups to community service organizations, to outdoors clubs and clubs celebrating, languages or even specific cuisines. For example, we had twin sisters from Sicily not too long ago who had an Italian language club, and they would bake biscotti and make espresso and teach the kids who showed up to speak Italian. They would watch classic Italian movies too. So there's all kinds of things that the kids can do with their clubs and organizations. We have a number of really amazing and notable courses. The first one that pops into my mind is called the StanX Fly Lab, which pairs students from researchers from Stanford University and teaches them to breed Drosophila fruit flies with DNA or genetic traits that the researchers want for their labs. So they do a lot of research on these flies, and they need to have specific traits. And our kids, they breed the flies that the researchers are looking for, which is really cool. In history, we have something called the Hersey Scholars Program that brings students to Harvard for the summer. They do archival research for a thesis-style project. We have something similar in English too. It's called the McLeish Scholars Program. They visit Yale over the summer when they do research for an English thesis type program. We have a new forest ecology kind of ecosystem research program. We partner with Yale's forestry department. So they have actually a forest lab campus not too far from here, so our kids will be able to go partner with Yale researchers. That's something that Yale hasn't ever done with a high school before, so we're really excited about these specific programs. We have a number of speakers who come to campus every year. We have several endowed programs actually that bring these speakers to campus, and they talk about global perspectives and current events. We even have a Center for Global Understanding and Independent Thinking that specializes in cross-cultural or even bipartisan understanding in our curriculum. So the director of that center comes and speaks to our faculty about how to moderate difficult political conversations, about how to make sure that our students aren't just cocooned in their own thinking and paying attention to sort of echo chamber talking points, but actually are listening to opposing viewpoint and learning from people whose ideas maybe are not quite the same as theirs. As you can imagine, that's an important skill for our time. There's a lot of reason to be developing students who are good listeners and good thinkers and who can communicate across party lines. So every student has to take an art class in their 9th grade year and then again in their 10th grade year. So even if you are not interested in art, you have exposure to it. And we have several different choices in that art discipline. So you can take painting and drawing, you can take ceramics, photography, drama, music. If you choose music, by the way, it ends up being a private lesson in the instrument of your choice twice a week. That's one way to access the music program. Our art studios are pretty incredible. Right behind me is a view of the lake and the golf course and the mountains behind me. The art classrooms look out and have the same view. So it's a pretty inspiring space just to be and to create. I like that about our arts program. There's also ways to access the arts program outside of the academic day. So you can go into the arts classrooms and use them. And by the way, you can take higher level arts classes in 11th and 12th grade. So that's absolutely something that people do. As you mentioned, we have a world-class orchestra here. You can be a part of the orchestra. There's a symphonic orchestra, so we have some professionals who also play in the orchestra. Whenever they perform on campus, there's no parking on campus anymore because people come from far and wide to listen to our kids play. It's pretty amazing. They also travel. They travel to Lincoln Center in New York, Carnegie Hall. They've traveled to Asia. They've traveled to Europe. It's a pretty amazing group of kids who hard to tell the difference between them and professionals. So that's the music program. And then in terms of the performing arts outside of music, we put on 3 plays or musicals a year. I think this year we're doing Romeo and Juliet. We're doing a couple plays that I had not yet heard of. Again, they're professional quality. I bring my friends and my kids to watch them. It's a lot closer than going to New York and seeing something on Broadway, but the quality is almost the same. Everybody has to do something in the afternoon after the class day is over. Practices typically start at 4 o'clock, go to about 5:30 or 6. We have 60 different athletic teams, 20 plus different varsity teams here. So, for example, the fall soccer is a very important and popular sport, as is squash in the winter, tennis in the spring, lacrosse in the spring, ice hockey in the winter, basketball, volleyball, all very robust programs. Lots of kids who have lots of experience playing those sports at the varsity level, and then kids who are new to those teams and those sports play at the JV and thirds level. So athletics is not just, about winning, it's about developing teamwork and, social skills and work ethic, but also a sense of accomplishment and, shared accomplishment, I guess. When teams are winning on campus, everybody seems to be happy. The athletic program does more than just, get your heart rate up. It's important for a lot of reasons. When it comes to the college process, students in their upper mid-year, which is Hotchkiss for 11th grade, students in their upper mid-year are assigned a college counselor in January of their upper mid-year. So that counselor helps them navigate the college process. They have monthly meetings about the next steps. But even before that, the college office meets with whole classes as a group. I think it's as early as the beginning of sophomore year, so lower mid-year, just to get them thinking about their trajectory and academically and what potential outcomes might look like. So the kids, they aren't surprised by the college process beginning in January of their 11th grade year. They start thinking about it earlier. And they have dedicated professionals who have been doing this work for a long time who help them navigate the process, whether it's testing requirements, essay writing, applying to the appropriate schools. Those people are there to support the kids all the way from the beginning to the end of the process.